Countdown to Halloween, featuring Gregory Miller's Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. Every night at exactly midnight, a new story will appear on StoryLink Radio's YouTube channel. You'll have 24 hours to listen, then it will disappear and the next one will appear. Plan to catch these each day or you'll miss one. Each story will be 2 to 13 minutes long. If you haven't already, be sure to listen to the introduction to the book right here on this channel. And now, tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales. October 29, dang it, Frank! What's the matter, Bella? I can't get the door open! Push on it. I am pushing on it. It won't open. Try pulling it. Okay, yeah. There it goes. Ah! What is that? It's a giant eyeball, Bella. I can see it's a giant eyeball, Frank. What's it doing in the house? That's tonight's guest storyteller. Oh, well, well, you're gonna need to zoom out then. Yep, on it. Huh. Go. October 29, the change. The morning was drab, both outside and in. Beyond the small house's pine and vinyl walls, the sky was slate, alternating between spells of sullen cold drizzle and violent spattering showers. Within, two middle-aged people went through their monotonous pre-work routine and were now, barely, sitting down to a typical hurried breakfast. Even the temporal positioning of the morning was dull. A Wednesday in mid-November. Around a mouthful of toast, Tom Orton inquired, Hey, does the name Douglas Adams ring a bell? Linda Orton looked up from her coffee. The author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Yeah, that's the one. I love that book. I love all of them. Tom stared down at his laptop, which was open on the kitchen table in lieu of a newspaper. So long, and thanks for all the fish, he said. That was the fourth one. Yeah, I know. This article made me think of it. Why? Remember how in that one, all the dolphins on Earth simply up and leave the planet? I mean, they don't die. They just leave. Their last message to humanity is so long and thanks for all the fish. And then they go and the planet's destroyed. Linda nodded. Sure. But what the hell kind of article are you reading to remind you of that? He slid his laptop across to her. It's breaking news. On every major news site, Twitter's going nuts too. Linda leaned in, but didn't need to. Even without her contacts in, the headline was huge, bold, black letters in 24-point font framed in black. Cephalopods missing. She glanced up. I take it that's not a family's last name. Tom shook his head. Nope. They're talking about the whole genus? Tom nodded. Yep. What, is another species of octopus endangered or something? Some exotic little squid MIA? Just click the link. Linda did, then read quickly, frenetically. She did everything quickly and frenetically before work. Once finished, she paused, blinked, and scrolled back up to the beginning of the article and read it all again, slower this time. What's the date? She said at last. November 17th. And when's April Fool's Day? That would be April 1st, said Tom. Yeah, thought so. Damn. Tom stood, began pacing, then went over to the cupboard, rummaged past the half-empty peanut butter jar, a box of Sweet and Low packets and scattered Keurig cups, secured a bottle of Tylenol and fumbled it open. Every octopus, every squid, hell, even every cuttlefish, gone, Linda finished. Missing. I remember them talking about it on NPR a few days ago, Tom continued. Something about depleted numbers and this fisherman off the coast of Japan. He saw a huge migration. He said the sea was full of squid as far as the eye could see. It was on CNN, too. You know, as a curiosity type of thing. But now this. Hell, this isn't depleted numbers. There simply aren't any left alive. Not one specimen from the more than 800 known species can be found. Yeah, says here no dead ones either, Linda added. Not one. Not anywhere.
Nothing washing up, nothing floating, nothing netted.
Both of them stared at each other. Neither seemed to want to say what had to be said next. Linda, always a sport, took up the burden.
What does it mean?
She asked rhetorically, for she knew Tom couldn't possibly have a good answer. I haven't the foggiest idea, Tom answered, proving her right. His phone rang. 30 seconds later, so did Linda's. Both spoke into them for less than a minute, then hung up. No school today, said Tom. Not even for teachers. Something's wrong with the water pipes.
Yeah, my building's closed too,
Linda replied.
I'll have to work from home.
They closed, Stanley and Sons? Why?
Same thing, some kind of plumbing problem.
It must be a hell of a big one for a law firm to shut up its main offices for a full day. Tom popped 2 Tylenol in his mouth, then tested the faucet to the kitchen sink. Water spurted, gurgled, spit, then came out strong. Well, ours is okay at least. He ran his empty coffee mug under the tap and took a long swig to wash the pills down. Immediately he spluttered, gurgled, and spit.
You do a great imitation of the sink,
Linda observed. It's salt water, Tom gasped.
What?
Try it. Linda took a small sip, grimaced, gagged, then spit it out. A line to the sea must have ruptured, said Tom. Something underground. Maybe an earthquake knocked it loose and it flooded our cistern or reservoir or whatever the hell we have.
We live in Iowa,
Linda said. Then you explain it.
Oh, let's see what they're saying on the news.
Sometime in the last 5 minutes, their Wi-Fi had gone down.
Oh, TV then,
Linda announced. They went to the living room unsteadily, awkwardly. For the first time in years, there was no reason to rush on a Wednesday morning, and the change had left them uncertain, almost self-conscious in their movements. Linda turned on the television. She flipped through the channels quickly and steadily, finding comfort as she always did in the vague feeling of power and control the act gave her. After a few minutes of spectating, Tom requested the remote and found the exact same comfort in the exact same thing. Every single channel suffered from distortion, snow, signal breaks, and color shifts. Only the audio seemed unaffected. They eventually settled on a local news channel, WARB, where it appeared on-scene reporter Brenda Callahan was interviewing the owner of an exotic pet store down on Merwin Street. It was the damnedest thing I ever saw, said the owner, whom they couldn't see. Both Linda and Tom visualized him as a late middle-aged, mustached, and moderately obese.
And how many octopuses did you have in stock?
Octopi, the owner corrected. 2. They were already out of the tank when we opened up. Val found one above the door. The damn thing was on the ceiling when she came in.
On the ceiling. Sir, are you suggesting it climbed the walls?
I'm not suggesting anything, miss. A pause, undoubtedly incredulous, but who could blame her?
And what happened then?
What happened then is that it dropped down smack on top of Val's head. That's what happened. It looked like that monster from Alien, you know, that face-hug-up thing. It was changed. Oh, it was awful. Bigger than before, too. 3 times the size it was yesterday, maybe more. And its skin had these squamous, what would you call them, plates, like armor. Those suckers can't live out of water long, but this one, oh, it had a lot of fight, and we had a hell of a time pulling it off. The tentacles, oh, God, what they did to Val's face. A burst of static in the audio now, too. Then the interview resumed. Killed the first one. It melted, left nothing but a loathsome puddle of effulgence. But the second one's still missing. That's why I'm here, not in the hospital, Val. Something happened to them, something awful. And they're dangerous. More static, along with a faint, guttural voice. Crossed signals, Tom muttered.
You mean the second one is still loose?
Brenda Callahan asked, a faint touch of panic in her voice. Up, said the owner. That's why I got this. They heard what could only be the sound of a shotgun being pumped. An eldritch shadow passed in front of Linda and Tom's living room window, but they were too engrossed to dignify it with even a furtive glance. More static. again with that demoniac voice. This time it was clearer, louder. Finglu Maglanafa. The static abated. Brenda Callahan was screaming in a way that would blow out her vocal cords if she kept it up for long. She didn't. Moments later, the shrieks tapered off into wet gibbering, then ended abruptly with the blast of the shotgun being discharged. Linda and Tom held their breath. "Damned crazy shit," the owner began, and then a sudden shattering of glass, followed by a hideous slurping sound, cut him off mid-sentence. The slurping sound continued until Linda turned off the TV. Tom and Linda sat silently on their maroon microfiber loveseat. The power went out. Then they sat in darkness, listening to the rain beat down on the roof's asphalt shingles, the corrugated metal drain pipes, and the insulated storm windows as the room slowly began to cool. The sound of the rainfall was punctuated by harried sirens, distant booms that weren't thunder, ululations from unnameable sources, and abnormal, almost infrasonic chanting.
I have to say,
said Linda, getting jerkily to her feet and stepping lightly toward the bay window behind the TV,
that whatever the hell is going on, it's more exciting than a typical Wednesday in November. I mean, admit it, I'm scared, but there's more to it, and it's not all bad. Am I in shock? Is that shock talking?
"I don't know," said Tom, still sitting. His tone and expression suggested shock far more than Linda's, somewhat vacant, entirely placid, and eerily calm. Linda stood a moment with her face just inches from the curtain. She breathed in, out, and in again. Then she yanked it back. An antediluvian landscape met her gaze. The rain, now ferociously pounding down, was a singular crimson. The street a noisome miasma of fungoid growth, dead fauna, and the shapeless rusted hulks of what had once been cars, minivans, and SUVs. The trees had lost their leaves, which had been replaced by gray, unmentionable limbs that looked both batrachian and ophidian as they aggressively coiled, undulated, and lashed out of their surroundings. Several human bodies lay in doorways, in yards, and in the street. All were being consumed by tentacled blasphemies, some the size of rodents, others as big as Holstein calves, that could only have come from the darkest, most immemorial depths of the Stygian abyss.
Finglui Magla Nafa, Cthulhu Riye, Waga Nagal Fatagan,
Linda intoned softly. "What?" Tom asked from the love seat.
That's what the words on the TV were from. It's a saying. I remember it from a lit class I took in college.
What does it mean?
In his house at Riye, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming.
At the top of the street, on the crest of the hill, something elephantine in size but amorphous in shape lumbered into view. Its indescribable body punctuated by a head of writhing iridescent tentacles as thick as fire hoses.
It's exhilaration, I feel,
Linda said, letting the curtains fall back.
Yes, that's the word. Hey, Tom.
Tom, still sitting quietly, almost passively on the love seat, looked up at her and blinked.
Does the name H.P. Lovecraft ring a bell?
Brow furrowing, Tom thought a moment, then nodded slowly.
Yeah, I know the name. He was an author too, right? I can't say I'm familiar with his work, though. You will be,
Linda said, and contentedly began chanting in Rieyan, the words bubbling up from her subconscious to her conscious mind like primordial genetic memories as something fetid, unnameable, and indescribably massive struck the roof, shook the house, and broke through. You've just heard tonight's story from Dark Nights and Candlelight, 31 Tiny October Tales from author Gregory Miller. You can get this book right now on Amazon
at the on-screen link, and Kindle Unlimited users can borrow a copy of the book for free. You can learn more about Gregory Miller and his many amazing books and projects at his website, On Screen. If you have not already, be sure to listen to our event video here and visit our event website to learn all about our upcoming events. Remember to come back after midnight for our next tale. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for StoryLink Radio.